Pictures have emerged of a mass grave in New York as the death toll continues to rise. Almost 800 more people have died in New York State alone. Officials say burials are being increased at the site on Hart Island off the Bronx. It has long been used for people with no next of kin or families who cannot afford a funeral. New York State alone now has more coronavirus cases than any single country in the world. Here's our North America editor, John Sopel.
It is somehow unimaginable, unbelievable, that in the most famous city of the richest country in the world, they're digging mass graves for those who can't afford a funeral and for those who died of coronavirus with no next of kin. This is Hart Island, just off the Bronx in New York City. Nearly 8,000 people have died in this state alone, and they're struggling to deal with all the burials.
We are in total control of our destiny here. What we do will affect literally life and death for hundreds of people.
And so many New York hospitals have had to bring these refrigerated lorries in to act as makeshift morgues. The whole healthcare system is creaking. There is an important glimmer of good news, though, and that is the number of people being admitted to hospital is falling sharply. And Donald Trump at his briefing today said he thinks America may be over the worst.
The numbers of beds being used, we're just saying, are substantially reduced. That's usually the sign that it's heading in the downward curve.
And he wants to reopen the country for business as soon as possible.
I want to get it open as soon as we can. We have to get our country open, Jeff.
Can you say, sir, what metrics you will use to make that decision?
The metrics right here. That's my metrics. That's all I can do.
On a normal weekend, a tourist venue like the Lincoln Memorial would be packed with visitors. But America is closed. Donald Trump hopes to reopen the country on May the 1st, but his medical experts are saying, be very cautious.
The virus kind of decides whether or not it's going to be appropriate to open or not. So even though we're in a holiday season, now is no time to back off. As I say so often, now is the time to actually put your foot on the accelerator, because we're going in the right direction. Let's keep in that direction.
Lord, let us come out with a thriving economy.
The president had originally wanted America to reopen for this weekend, with churches packed. But in the Oval Office today, this was the reality. No crowded pews, just a blessing from a bishop.
We bless them and America in Jesus' name.
And for nearly all other Christians, this unique Easter will be online, virtual and socially distanced. But one church that will be open is the biggest Anglican cathedral in the US. This New York landmark won't be available for worshippers, though. It's being readied as an additional field hospital.
Well, John joins me now from the White House. And President Trump said that he thought that the virus could be reaching its peak, which many people will find hard to believe.
Well, Donald Trump says he's a cheerleader for America, and he's always been over-optimistic, or come say, looking on the bright side of things throughout. But he faces the same dilemma in a sense that we heard from Ben Wright and the British government facing. When is it right to reopen the economy? What do you do about fighting this pandemic? Now, the complicating factor, and it may sound trivial to talk about it, Sophie, is there is a presidential election coming in November, and it will happen because it's in the Constitution that it will happen. And so Donald Trump had originally calculated he'd go into this election with the guy saying, look, I've lowered unemployment to record levels and the stock market to record highs. He didn't want it to be the other way round. And so you've got an election timetable that's rubbing up against the coronavirus. He wants to be able to say, I tackled the coronavirus and I've kept the economy strong. Increasingly, his advisors are saying, no, you're going to have to choose between one or the other, with a coronavirus that seems uniquely disinterested in the election timetable.
John Sopel, thank you. Doctors have expressed concern that sick children are not being seen early enough because of the pandemic and could become seriously ill. The Royal College of Paediatrics says parents may be reluctant to take a child to hospital, fearing they could be infected. Daniela Relph has been talking to medical staff.
If you're worried about the health of your child, please, it's absolutely vital that you continue to seek health advice.
Some people are not seeking medical advice for their children when they normally would do.
If you need medical help, you must seek it.
They speak for many paediatricians. who are seeing a fall in the number of children they're treating in accident and emergency across a range of common conditions.
How have things been different in recent weeks?
I'm speaking to people both locally and nationally. It's really, really obvious that we are seeing a huge decline in patient numbers attending. Our departments are really, really quiet. We're seeing very little footfall of any children presenting into the department at all. It's stunningly quiet at the moment.
Doctors believe a number of factors have led to parents avoiding A&E, including the risk of catching COVID-19. Others don't want to bother the already busy NHS. And then there is also the fear of being separated from their child.
This is now an area of considerable concern for paediatricians. Their worry is that the caution of parents and carers is delaying children getting vital treatment.
Such is the level of unease that the Royal College of Paediatrics and Healthcare will tomorrow issue this set of new guidelines, advising and reminding parents when they should seek medical help for their children. The concerns aren't confined to paediatricians. Numbers in general A&E have also dipped, and midwives too have noticed a worrying change.
We're finding here that we've got ladies that are actually not coming in. They are either delaying coming in or stopping themselves from contacting the hospital just in case because they are worried about COVID. It's really, really important that if they have any changes or reduced movements for baby, so if their pattern of movement changes, it's very important they come and get checked.
The message from medics is clear. Yes, stay home. But please get help if you have serious concerns about your child. Doctors want to see you. Daniela Relph, BBC News.